Hi everyone, and welcome to Uncovered Vintage Fashion Magazine Review. I'm Stephanie, and I've been collecting and selling vintage fashion magazines for over 20 years.
And I'm Morley. I'm a former copywriter and am now an award-winning playwright and screenwriter.
Together, we will examine some of your favorite vintage fashion magazines from the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
On Uncovered, we'll discuss some of the magazine's models, layouts, and did I mention the models?
And we'll also review some of the ads and articles that make these magazines such a great piece of pop culture history. So, fasten your seatbelts and let's get uncovered. Hi, welcome to Uncovered Vintage Fashion Magazine Review Podcast, episode number 14.
Wow, time really flies when you're having fun, huh, Steph?
It does. Today, the issue that we're going to review is Vogue magazine, February of 1984.
So, what do you remember, if anything, about 1984 or February 1984?
Pretty uneventful. Probably my first year of high school, so I guess it wasn't that uneventful. Yeah. But yeah, probably. What about you, Morley?
I probably would have started my very first job after school, meaning that I graduated from high school a little bit early. And there was a company that was looking for, I guess, telemarketers. And they had an ad that said, actors wanted. And I thought, oh, okay, well, I've done my fair bit of acting and you have to read a script. So I applied. And needless to say, I've kind of made my career in call centers, mostly in a management position. But that's where it started. I think it was probably around February of 1984 before I went on to university. So that was kind of exciting. Also, 1984. Did you ever have to read the book 1984 in school?
Don't believe so.
So when I was in high school, I started high school, I think it was around 1980. And back then, everyone was talking about 1984 by George Orwell. Ooh, what's going to happen? And I remember there was some anticipation about, is this really true about Big Brother and all this? And of course, nothing really happened. Nothing really changed. It was sort of like with the whole Y2K scare in 2000, where, you thought planes were going to fall from the sky and everything would be disrupted because of the computer program wouldn't be able to adapt to the year 2000. So it was kind of like, what a letdown.
I do remember when everyone was talking about the George Orwell book 1984 and how far in the future it felt.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
now it's like, ho-hum, it's old.
How many years later? 37?
But in some ways, it seems like 1984 is more prevalent than ever with the government monitoring of citizens. And anyway, we're not a political show. We can go on. So let's talk about some of the films and songs from that year, specifically February of 1984. Some of the top songs, man, I'm telling you, this was an amazing year for music. So normally I list a couple songs or a few songs. Listen to some of these songs that were popular in February of 1984 and tell me how many of these you remember. Jump by Van Halen.
Check.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Check.
Thriller by Michael Jackson. I Want a New Drug by Huey Lewis and the News. 99 Luftballons by Nina. Footloose. Karma Chameleon. The list goes on. I was looking at some of the top songs like, wow. Like you could make an amazing number of CDs just from February of 1984. Very impressive.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the new releases at the time. So one of my favorite films I really enjoyed a lot, it was a guilty pleasure, was Footloose. Remember that one?
For sure.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Chris Penn.
Late Chris Penn, rest in peace. John Lithgow was in it as well. I think her name was Laurie Singer, who was from Fame.
Had been a model as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Repo Man, which I believe was with Amelia Estevez, I think. Blame It on Rio, which we'll talk a little bit about later on. And Lassiter. Do you remember Lassiter?
No.
Okay. Lassiter was with Tom Selleck. And it was with Tom Selleck and Jane Seymour.
Was it a show?
No, it was a movie.
Oh, okay.
And what's interesting about the movie is that they had to build it up because they said the Magnum Man makes his big screen debut or something like that. So in the ads for Lassiter, they had to refer to Tom Selleck as being the Magnum Man because at the time, Magnum P.I. was a huge TV show and they wanted to get that audience going to the movie. Apparently the movie stunk. The box office was terrible. And so that was not quite...
It's a miss.
It's definitely a miss on the Magnum Man, as they called him. So why don't we continue on with Vogue from February of 1984.
Sounds good. So this is a February issue. I'm going to go ahead and read you the captions. Vogue New. Terrific clothes from the New York collections. The best looks. Day, Night. Jane Fonda, a special interview. So only actually 2 captions on there. Interesting. Usually there's a few. So just a little bit about February. New York Fashion Week takes place in February and September each year. It's a semi-annual series of events when international fashion collections are presented to buyers, the press, and the general public. New York collections issues such as this one, it's a showcase for those fashions. So this is a very important issue, the February issue of Vogue. So our cover model is Shari Belafonte.
Deo.
Right, right. Photographer Richard Avedon. Hair by Suga. Makeup by Ariella. Fashion, she's wearing kimono pajamas by Fernando Sanchez Men. So she's actually wearing men's pajamas on this cover.
And she looks marvelous.
So Shari Belafonte Harper is a singer, actress, model. She's appeared on 5 Vogue covers, although she's only 5'3". So apparently the photographer Richard Avedon adored her, loved using her on the cover. Generally speaking, just so you know, the minimum height for an editorial model is 5'9", and Shari is just shy of 5'4".
So you're saying that I could be modeling for Vogue?
I'm saying that it's quite an accomplishment for a petite model to be on the cover of Vogue, so kudos.
Okay.
So Shari's a daughter of singer Shari Belafonte. Shari Belafonte is one of the most successful Jamaican-American pop stars in history.
Mm-hmm.
Some of his hits include the Banana Boat song, also known as Deo.
Yeah.
But I don't want to turn this into uncovered karaoke today, because I don't want to offend our audience. So
listen, if they haven't been offended yet, then they haven't been listening long enough.
But some of his songs, I remember Beetlejuice. I think of this as a Beetlejuice song,
absolutely.
Even though I knew it long before Beetlejuice came out. The movie Beetlejuice, by the way, starring Michael Keaton, featured, I think, several of Shari Belafonte's songs.
It did, in fact. But you told me as well, just from a little bit of your past, how your father would have Shari Belafonte's, I guess, greatest hits or one of his albums.
He did. He used to play his records. And for those of you who are for those millennials out there, a record is a round disc that was used to play music.
Made from vinyl.
Yeah. But
you used to listen to a lot of his songs when you were younger, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yes, we did. We
definitely
heard them
feel
a lot
the connection,
at home.
And Kingston Town, I think, was another one.
Yeah.
A lot of hits.
And
great
the one,
singer.
I think it's called Jamaica Goodbye or something like that. Anyhow.
Well, it's been a while, but he's a fantastic singer and really quite the icon as well.
He is. So going back, so Shari Belafonte is credited in the issue as Belafonte Harper. However, she and Robert Harper divorced in 1988. And she's been married to actor Sam Behrens since 1989. And just on a side note, we just saw Shari on The Morning Show.
Right.
Hit TV series, The Morning Show.
With Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon and Steve Carell. Yeah, she was great in that too. Didn't have a huge role, but it was great to see her there as well.
But who knows? Maybe they'll expand her role next season.
That'd be nice, yeah.
I look forward to that.
Absolutely.
So that's Shari Belafonte Harper, folks.
So throughout the issue, they have a feature called People Are Talking About. And in this particular page, on page 52, they're talking about some new movies that are coming out or just come out. One of them is Blame It on Rio. Now, did you ever see that movie, Steph?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So I saw it. I really liked it a lot. I saw it a couple times. It was with Michael Caine, the late Joseph Bologna, Michelle, I think her name is Williams. Michelle Johnson. That's right, Michelle Johnson. Demi Moore. And it was also with Michael Caine. So what it was about basically is about these 2 single fathers who have these daughters, Demi Moore and Michelle Johnson, and they decide to go away together, I guess, to Rio. And while they're away, Joseph Bologna's daughter, played by, again, Michelle Johnson, falls in love with Michael Caine. And he's trying to rebuff her advances, and eventually they have a torrid affair. And she's probably, I guess, I don't know how old she is. I don't want to guess 18, 19. I don't know. That was also the first appearance that I'd seen from Demi Moore. I believe she was a soap opera actress.
She was.
What soap was she in? Anyway, so she was, I think, in Days of Our Lives, one of those soaps. I have to admit, I enjoyed the movie. I thought Michelle Johnson's acting was terrible. I think she was more of a model than an actress and was not at all impressed with Demi Moore's acting. It looked like she didn't want to be there. But Michael Caine and Joseph Flaherty really, really made the show or made the movie for me. I was thinking as well, Joseph Bologna's wife, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I believe her name was Renee. She played Fran's mother on The Nanny.
Oh, Okay.
So they were married for many years. Unfortunately,
she's hilarious.
She's a terrific actress. They were married for a very long time. Unfortunately, her name escapes me, but a very well-known actress as well. So well-known, I forgot her name. So that's on page 52. Then on page 54, they talk about Footloose. Again, with Kevin Bacon, and we talked about Laurie Singer and John Lithgow. And for those of you who haven't seen it, it is a fantastic movie. Basically, what it's about is about this a new kid in town, and he's really into dancing. But the school principal, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, very religious, and they don't allow dancing, and you can guess the rest. But it was the first time I'd seen John Lithgow, certainly Kevin Bacon. But more importantly, the soundtrack is fantastic. Kenny Loggins, of course, is very well known for doing the song Footloose and That's All Right, and many other songs. I'm All Right, sorry, from Caddyshack.
Let's hear it for the boy, Denise Williams.
But the soundtrack itself is fantastic. So really, if you haven't listened to the soundtrack from Footloose, Bonnie Tyler's on there. Just a great soundtrack. Really highly recommend getting it. So again, this is throughout the issue itself. People are talking about that. And this is not to be confused with Everybody's Talking About, by Harry Nilsson, that song. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, great articles and very interesting as well. And that's it. Renee Taylor, Joseph Bologna was married to Renee Taylor from 1965 until his passing. So there you go.
On page 318, we have a layout. It's entitled The Strong Beat of Color. It's 8 pages of color photos. And the models are Kim Williams, Lara Young, and others. Photography by Eddy Kohli. Hair by Yannick. Makeup by Francois Nars. Fashion by Stephen Sprouse, Geoffrey Beene, Norma Kamali, Bill Blass, Halston, and Oscar de la Renta. These are American designers, and remembering that this is the New York collection issue. So I'll go ahead and read the caption. In and out of the New York collections and a constant source of delight. Strong, brilliant color. Color as a way of changing the look, the mood of fashion. Color as a way of getting the message across fast. As you'll be seeing on these 8 pages, key points of the season, all in color. So we're looking at a very colorful layout, if you didn't get that impression from the caption.
No, I thought it was all in black and white. I don't know.
The hems of the skirts and dresses, gowns are worn long and short. Shoes are both flat and heels, different heights. We're all over the place. Color block and monochromatic, bright colors. Short hair is in. Fashions are ranging from glamorous to edgy. Some very, very glamorous photos here. I actually remember very well when this was the style. It's funny to see again. And patterned nylons and tights. So we have a polka dot nylon on this page. Very cute. We have zebra tights.
I've never seen that in my life.
Wow.
I hope I never do.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well, by today's standards.
But also with those shoes that she's wearing, wow, those are horrible.
She's wearing sandals over patterned tights, and the patterned tights are zebra, white and black.
Wow, and you ladies give heck to men for wearing socks with their sandals.
Oh boy,
this is
here
brutal.
We go.
Yeah,
but I have to say that this is a gorgeous looking layout.
It is, yeah.
The
colors are vibrant.
It's Eddy Kohli. The colors are vibrant. The background is sort of painting on white, like abstract paintings on white.
Super cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, and the designs are just. This is 1984 on a page, like. I can remember very well when this was the style, and it's very cool to see again. It almost looks
like swatches in the background, kind of.
It does.
It reminds me a little bit in some ways of the United Colors of Benetton.
You're right, it does.
Yeah.
And they've made an effort to match the background color to what the model is wearing, which is also very cool.
It's really impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as layouts go, this is, again, really a delight for the eyes.
It is. So, not to be missed, the strong beat of color.
Wow, that's great. On page 200... there's a section called Q&A, Beauty. So in this particular case, I'm going to go through some of the questions, and I'm going to give my take on the answers, because I'm a pretty hip guy. So in midwinter, which is where we are right now, my skin starts to look pale and pasty. How can I get the look of a fresh glow and a slight tan? So great question, and again, I often get asked this question, especially in wintertime. So again, how can I get the look of a fresh glow and a slight tan? Hang out with friends who are really pasty. So what I do, for example, is if I want to look like I've gone away somewhere, I have friends who just never go out at all, and they're really white. So when I hang out with them, it's like, boy, where'd you go? Did you go away somewhere? No. It's just my natural look. It's the same thing as well. I could lose a few pounds, but I tend to hang out with people who are much heavier than me. So I always look slim in comparison. So that's really the key, to find those friends who really look white. Okay, next question, and you're welcome. Should I switch to using a more emollient moisturizer at night, or should I use the one for my daytime routine, again, before bedtime? What I think is what you should do is get a hobby. Who cares? There's wars going on. There's people dying every day. There's poverty. You're worried about what you're putting on your bloody skin. Okay, don't even start. What I think you should do is I think you should watch the news and really figure out what's important. Listen, there's nothing wrong with having nice skin, but really, this is what's concerning you, that you actually have to take the time to write into a magazine. Don't get me started. Next, why do my nails sometimes look yellowish after I remove nail polish? Can this be prevented? Yes, stop smoking. Hello. So when you smoke, the nicotine gets into your fingernails and they're yellow. Have you ever seen those people with yellow nails? It's disgusting. I think instead what you should worry about is, how do I stop smoking? Don't worry about the nails, will take care of themselves. And while you're at it, you should probably put on some really good deodorant, because those people with the yellow nails, right, Steph? They smell a block away. So what I'd recommend is forget the nails, worry about stop smoking, getting some mints, and taking a shower once in a while, because honestly, that will help everything. So those are my beauty tips. You're welcome.
Page 326 brings us to The All-Out Seductiveness of Geoffrey Beene. It's a 4-page layout, and it's a little bit of a continuation of the last one I discussed. The model is Kim Williams, photography by Eddy Kohli, hair by Edward Tricomi, makeup by Francois Nars, and fashion by Geoffrey Beene, another American designer. This is evening wear. It's based on a new, and I'm quoting, lingerie dressing. It's Kim Williams. She's wearing all black in contrast to the last layout, which was all color. She's wearing black and silver trim, but basically it's black. It's a mix of opaque and sheer fabrics, so lace. We're looking at gowns, evening pajamas. It's a long, narrow silhouette. And again, it's based on lingerie dressing, and we're starting to see that more in clothing. It's very sexy and translucent, and some of it's a little bit.
I think the word you're looking for is different. I see in one of the pictures she's wearing almost like a dog collar around her neck. So I don't know if she's going out for a night in the town or to a fetish party.
I mean, I think it's sexy, but it's also very romantic looking. It's not over the top. Although it's translucent, she's covered in all the important places. These evening pajamas are very cute. And I think it's the beginning of when we started seeing underwear worn as outerwear. Like Madonna really brought that forward a little bit later, but this is not like that. It's more romantic.
Well, it's definitely cutting edge, I think.
Yeah, it's very cool and cutting edge.
So, of all the magazines that we reviewed, I think maybe I enjoyed this one the most. And the reason is because there are so many amazing, diverse articles in this particular issue. For example, in this one here, on page 204, there's an article. The headline is Sugar Substitute. Countdown on the current artificial sweeteners. Are they safe, stable, sweet? Are they even low calorie? And they compare a number of different ones like aspartame. They talk about saccharin. They talk about cyclamate. So I want to talk in general about sugar substitutes. And the reason I want to talk about it is because I used to work for a health and nutrition company. So I know a lot about it. I've done a lot of research into sugar substitutes. So for me personally, my favorite one are the sugar alcohols. Do you know what I mean, Steph? Some of the sugar alcohols?
Maltitol, sorbitol.
Yeah, exactly. So anything that ends in the anything that ends in all, like maltitol, sorbitol, xylitol, those are sugar alcohols. So basically they have no carbs, so they are good for those who are, let's say, diabetic or those who are following keto. But there's a difference in the quality of those particular sugar alcohols. So for example, xylitol is the best one. The other ones that are the lesser ones are sorbitol, maltitol, and you can find those a lot in gums and bakery products. The problem with those, it's very hard to digest. So if you have too much of them, you may find that it upsets your stomach, it may cause gas, etc. One of the sweeteners that a lot of nutritionists recommend is stevia. So I'm sure you've had stevia before.
Mm-hmm.
So stevia is actually based from a plant. The problem with stevia, though, is that it has this really bad kind of aftertaste. So I've used stevia before in my coffee, and it's okay, but it's really not ideal. And Stephanie's laughing because
I'm wondering. I have a crazy question.
Okay.
I'm actually wondering whether you feel that this article has stood the test of time.
Well, no.
Like, is it accurate by today's standards?
Again, I haven't read the article in depth, but they talk about cyclamate. So one of the sweeteners is sodium cyclamate, which I believe has been banned, if I'm not mistaken. They leave out a lot. I mean, there's saccharin. Saccharin has been banned as well. So it's not really the most current article from 1984.
No, but it's really interesting to see.
Back then, what they thought was good. I mean, now, for example, there's so many different types of sweeteners. You have monk fruit is another big one. You have agave syrup, which is not necessarily healthy. It's just another type of sweetener. So I always found this very interesting. Quite often, Stephanie will make me these amazing peanut butter cookies, and you use a product called Swerve, right?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Which I believe is a combination of stevia and I think xylitol, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So that's a great...
It's called Swerve.
Yeah, it's called Swerve. But they are the best peanut butter cookies. I think there's like 3 ingredients, like peanut butter, eggs, Swerve,
that's
and
it.
Maybe vanilla?
Yes, that's my own addition.
Oh, okay.
Anyhow.
Yeah, great.
Okay,
so
maybe I'll make you some today.
Great.
Sounds good.
So that's the article, Sugar Substitutes. Very interesting.
Page 330 is a layout entitled A New Polish, Erase Your Beat to Day Dressing. It's 8 pages. And this is honestly one of my very favorite layouts in this entire magazine. I think it's gorgeous to look at. The models are Kim Williams, Jacki Adams, Wanakee Pugh, and Unknown. Photos by Irving Penn. Hair by Ezel or Ezel. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Ezel. Makeup by Francois Nars. And fashion by Stephen Sprouse, Norma Kamali, Ralph Lauren, Jean-Paul Gaultier. So this is fashion in bold color and neutrals. And I have to say this silhouette is one that we saw a lot in the 80s, in the mid 80s. This boxy silhouette with the big shoulders. Absolutely gorgeous. Animal print skirt, huge shoulders, boxy jackets, fishnet stockings, and it's Irving Penn's white background against the models. It makes the fashion really pop. I have to say that Jacki Adams is gorgeous. She's one of my very favorite models of all time, actually. And I just wanted to draw your attention to this Stephen Sprouse belt on page... Sorry, guys, I'm looking for the page. On page... There's no page number. But the model is wearing a Stephen Sprouse belt, and it says peace on it. And I was looking at it, and I'm going, where have I seen that before? And I realized that it actually reminds me of Madonna's boy toy belt. So I looked it up. Madonna actually wore a very similar belt to the MTV Video Music Awards the same year, 1984. And this one on the page says, in the photo says peace, and Madonna's said boy toy. So I wouldn't at all be surprised if Madonna had worn a Stephen Sprouse belt to the MTV Music Awards that year. But it's very cool and very different. Great energy in this layout, not to be missed. Some of the hair, like this hair done by Ezel, is amazing. Like we have, I don't know how you would describe this on Kim Williams. It's sort of like a rooster's comb going
Yeah,
outward.
that's probably a really good description, yeah.
And Wanakee looks gorgeous. You know, all the models are bringing it. This just not to be missed. Must see. So, by the way, if you guys are interested in seeing this layout, you can find this magazine on eBay or Etsy. My store name is Great Mags. I also post a lot on Instagram. My Instagram handle is also Great Mags, or you can find some of our covers on uncovered_VFMR. That's also on Instagram.
So on Twitter, our handle is @uncoveredVFMR. So let's continue on.
Or our email address if you guys want to talk to us about, if you'd like to reach us.
Yeah, which is uncoveredpodcast@yahoo.com. We've been getting a lot of requests, a lot of positive feedback. So if we don't get back to you right away, then we will get back to you as soon as possible, we promise.
But anyhow, that brings us to the conclusion of page 330, A New Polish, Erase Your Beat to Day Dressing, must-see layout.
Before we finish, though, I noticed that on page 330, we have the model
Kim Williams.
Kim Williams. And she's wearing this sort of really interesting, what would you call this?
I think it's a jacket.
She reminds me of Matilda. This is the biggest jacket, the cartoon character, the comic character Matilda, I believe it is. She's wearing this ginormous yellow jacket. It's like you could fit two of her inside. It's just very interesting. Are they actually selling this particular jacket in the layout? Do you know, Steph? Because I've never seen anything
it's by Stephen Sprouse. It's a coat. It's bright yellow with pink cuffs.
It's really unique looking.
Collarless. It's got a V front.
If you're into shoplifting, this is the perfect jacket to wear because it looks like you can store a lot of material in here.
Chrome yellow wool lined in very pink silk satin. I don't know, that sounds a little conspicuous for shoplifting, but what do I know about shoplifting?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Look at those pockets. I mean, I think you could, fit a small child in there. Anyway, just a very interesting jacket.
It's it's a rectangular boxy silhouette. Like, we saw that a lot in the 80s.
And the shoulder pads.
Oh, yeah.
And look how small her legs are in comparison to the bottom of the jacket.
But this was a style.
Yeah, it just really caught my attention almost in a comical way. I'm sure he's a fantastic designer. But again, if she goes into a store and there's security there, I would say leave your jacket at the front, please. So anyway, interesting layout. On the bottom left-hand corner of page 284, there's an ad, a very small ad. I guess it's a quarter-page ad for the Palm Beach Polo and Country Club. And what caught my attention about it was the headline and the picture. So the headline reads, "After you've sampled our greens, try our squash," which is a really clever play on food. The greens and having squash. And basically what it is a cartoon of these two guys playing, probably squash is my guess. Or it could be racquetball, probably squash. So after you've sampled our greens, try our squash. And of course, they're playing, squash itself. And what they say in the ad itself will tempt you with a veritable smorgasbord of sporting opportunities from our Fazio designed 18-hole golf greens to our squash and racquetball. Then there's John Gardner tennis, croquet, pole.
That's
really
super
great.
Clever.
Yeah, really clever. I love the play on it. It's a double entendre. It's a great little picture. And I love ads that, again, have little puns inside. It's only a quarter page, but I thought it was very clever.
Well, I'd be curious to know if the Palm Beach Polo and Country Club are still around.
I'd be wondering that too.
So, Palm Beach Polo and Country Club, if you're listening, we have your ad here.
It's in Florida, obviously.
Very clever. You'd love to see it.
And I'd love to visit them, especially at this time of year. But a great ad, so kudos to you. So, a lot of our listeners love nostalgia as much as we do. And that's why you can find a lot of these ads and some of the other ones we've talked about at Stephanie's Great Mag store. And again, the address is Great Mags. That's GR8MAGZ or Z. I'm not going to make any jokes about it because I'm the one doing it this time. And you can also find her on eBay, also on Etsy.
The last layout that we have time to review today is on page 342. It's entitled The Refreshing Ease of Ralph Lauren. It's a 4-page article and layout. Photos are by Stephen Meisel. The celebrity is Meg Tilly. Hair by Yannick D'Is. Makeup by Kevyn Aucoin. And fashion by Ralph Lauren. So Meg Tilly, as some of you may know, is a Canadian-American actress. She was born Margaret Elizabeth Chan. And we're just going to take her. We're going to claim her for Canada because
Absolutely.
She grew up in Canada, although she was born in the U.S. and her mother is Canadian. So at the time, she was a rising star. She had just appeared in the movie The Big Chill and Psycho in 1983. In 1985, Meg won a Golden Globe and she was nominated for an Academy Award for her role in Agnes of God. So here she's 23 years old. Newly married, she was married at the time to 43-year-old producer Tim Zitterman, who she met while doing the movie Tex. They divorced in 1989. And Meg was going to be a dancer until she injured herself. Apparently she was dancing with a partner and he dropped her.
Wow.
She had injured her back. And so, ironically, her first role was in Fame, playing the role of a dancer, although she was no longer dancing. Yeah. So these photos by Stephen Meisel, she's actually dancing. Their dance poses, very beautiful. You can see her background as a dancer here. And, of course, makeup is by Kevyn Aucoin, who we all know. He was profound makeup artist. There was a documentary about him. You all need to see. He was amazing. He had written books. And all in all, this is a very, very beautiful Stephen Meisel layout. She looks gorgeous. Now, I understand that she's living in British Columbia still, or again.
Wow,
she's living
nice.
in Canada. So, great Canadian actress, Meg Tilly.
Great.
So, I think that's all the time that we have today.
Absolutely.
Anything to add, Morley?
No, I just noticed that there's a lot of pages in this particular issue. There's around 1,000 pages. No, I'm just kidding. There's around 360 some odd pages. It's really a great issue. Again, there's so many different things you can find in here. There's something in here, I think, for everyone.
There is. We had to skip a lot.
We really did.
And thanks again to our fans. We have fans all over the world. Some of our biggest fan bases in Germany. So thank you guys.
Dankeschön.
Dankeschön.
And please listen for the next time. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to Uncovered Vintage Fashion Magazine Review Podcast.
Uncovered was produced by Morley Schulman, with music by David Renda and logo design by Alan Lipman.
So remember, if you liked Uncovered, be sure to tell 2 friends about it.
And they'll tell 2 friends.
And so on, and so on, and so on.